You probably think the microwave was invented in a shiny lab to make life more convenient. Wrong. It was invented by accident. This story starts with military radar, melted chocolate, and a complete disregard for workplace safety. Meanwhile, in suburban North London, scientists are casually freezing hamsters to death, and then trying to bring them back with burning hot spatulas, and then with military-grade microwave cannons. That's the real story. The microwave oven didn't begin with convenience, it began with accidents, wartime innovation, and ethically questionable animal experiments. It was born not in a kitchen, but between the gears of war, the fog of scientific curiosity, and the smell of scorched rodents. This isn't a story about food, it's a story about radiation, reanimation, and the kind of can-do attitude that only exists when no one's invented an ethics board yet. So how did a military death ray become the world's laziest chef? Let's start with the chocolate bar. It's 1945. Percy Spencer, an engineer at Raytheon, a defense contractor that makes the kind of hardware designed to track, jam, and blow things up, is working on radar systems. These things run on magnetrons, powerful tubes that pump out high-frequency microwaves to detect enemy planes. Now, Percy Spencer is not your average lab coat. He grew up in rural Maine, without electricity. He taught himself engineering by candlelight, and ended up helping win World War II. So when he noticed the chocolate bar in his pocket had melted, he didn't run away screaming. He ran experiments. First with popcorn, which exploded magnificently, then with an egg, which exploded even more magnificently, in a colleague's face. But what Spencer had stumbled across, quite by accident, was that microwaves, the very ones used to detect enemy planes, could cook food. And just like that, a new form of heat was born, dielectric heating. Raytheon, being Raytheon, saw an opportunity. Less than a year later, they released the Radar range, the world's first microwave oven. It was 6 feet tall, water-cooled, and cost more than most cars. It wasn't going in your nan's kitchen, not yet anyway. But across the Atlantic, another microwave origin story was playing out, and it's even stranger. In North London during the 1950s, the National Institute for Medical Research is quietly running experiments that are best described as ethically unrepeatable. Their mission? To find a way to bring small animals, specifically hamsters and rats, back from the dead after freezing them. But why, you may ask? Because Cold War Britain wanted to understand what extreme temperatures did to the human body, and whether you could reverse it. The freezing part was easy, the fun part was trying to bring them back. Early attempts used hot spatulas and infrared beams to revive the animals. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it just left the hamsters with horrific burns. Then came a man called James Lovelock, who took one look at the mess and said, why not use microwaves? So he did what any practical British boffin would do. He bought a surplus RAF radio transmitter for 10 shillings, rigged it to blast 30 watts at 30 megahertz, and walked into the lab with a homemade rodent reanimator. Eventually, he got hold of a magnetron, the same kind used in radar, and built a metal box that could reheat hamsters safely, without turning them into animal-shaped toast. Essentially, he invented a crude but effective microwave oven. Not to cook dinner, but to bring the dead back to life. Sort of. Meanwhile, back in the US, the radar range was slowly shrinking. Through the 50s and 60s, it transformed from industrial monolith to something closer to what we have today. Japanese company Sharp added the first turntable, and Manor introduced the first countertop model in 1967. By the 70s, microwaves were storming homes like culinary Trojan horses. Everyone wanted one. Today, more than 90% of British homes have one, but most of us haven't got the faintest clue how it works, or how it came to be. The microwave wasn't born out of a desire to revolutionize cooking. It was born out of accidents. A melted snack, a curious engineer, a burnt rodent, and a wartime surplus of high-powered radiation tubes. This little buzzing box in your kitchen was never meant to warm leftovers. It was meant to find enemy planes. It was meant to resurrect the dead, and now it's reheating baked beans at 800 watts. History's weird, and so is your microwave. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.